What do we have here? Look at that beautiful Damascus. Man, Kansept always kills it with a nice Damascus for a reasonable price. Like, I'm going to say a cheap price, really, for Damascus. And they have such nice looking stuff. Now, is it just kind of like 9CR or 10CR mixed with something else? Yeah, it is. It's not it's not 20CV steel Damascus or some shit like that. But it's cool looking and it gets the job done. And they put it on cool knives like this JB Stout designed Orion. I think it's an Orion. Yeah. Really like this one. It's a little bit of a chunk. That's kind of my only first negative about it. I think it's a little heavy. Where's the scale? Just had it out a little while ago. Oh, I can't do that. I got to turn it on while it's sitting here. Okay. So this is the JB Stout Orion. What is the weight on this guy for only a 3-inch? Well, maybe it's like a 3.1-inch blade. Almost 4 ounces. So no, over 4 ounces for a 3-inch blade. That's a little chunky. That's a little on the chunky side. Is that a huge deal? No, it's a 4-ounce thing. As Metal Complex says, it's a 4-ounce object in your pocket. It's not a huge deal, but it does feel a little tight. Well, that's funny. In hand, it feels a little back heavy, but when you try to check the balance on it, it's a little tiny bit, but it's not bad, really. That's not terrible. Whoops. Ooh, I cut my thing. That's terrible. That is terrible. So the balance isn't awful. Now, I wish they'd have put that fuller right up at the top edge, made it a deep fuller, so that you could reverse flick it from the fuller. Now, it has a thumb disc instead, which is not my favorite deployment method, because you start cutting something, which it is in the cutting path, you're going to bang it on something eventually and damage it, bend it off, break it off, something like that. They come off fairly easy sometimes if you bang them. So, not my favorite deployment method. I'd rather have a thumb stud than this, if that was a choice. But it's not the choice. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit, right? So, there's a couple different things you could do if you don't really like a disc. Really, they could have moved it back a little bit too. Not sure why it's way up here. I think maybe because the detent is pretty strong and they didn't want you to have to struggle against it trying to open it. My thumb slips on it a bit. The reverse flick is fine. Seems to work fine. But what I was thinking was that if the bottom edge of this disc, right now it's just a flat disc that has a knurled surface, or what the hell do you call it? Little striations on there? Jimping. So it's got like a jimped surface going around. And if it had sort of an angle, a chamfer around the bottom, like a flat 45-degree angle, I feel like it would catch a little better. So we're going to try that. We're going to just, let's just do it now. I'm going to take it off and figure out a way to turn it into having a little thingy on the bottom. Oh, it's a pretty small little screw. I need to find a longer screw so that I can stick the screw through it and then put that in the chuck of my drill to drill, baby, drill. You get 1,000,000 internet points if you know what this is. These O-rings were added. Normally there's a little sleeve across this, like a rubberized little sleeve. So it looks different than it would normally look, but if you know, then you know. All right, I got a little bit longer screw, and one I don't care if I damage. It's just a random knife screw, and I'm going to try to put it into the chuck. Make sure it looks like it's centered there. Okay. Now the other problem is sometimes it just spins on there, which it does. So I could actually try to tighten it into the chuck, and that sometimes works, but sometimes not. Like right now, it is not working. It might be just enough. Nope, that is not tight enough. What if I knock it down in there? Let's see. I have a little hammer with a brass end on it. If I can knock it down in there. Oh, yeah. There we go. That's nice and tight. Nope, it got loose again. What the fuck? Okay. Still loose. Okay, I can't do it too tight so that the hammer can knock it down in there. That's pretty tight. All right, so we're going to stick with that, and we're going to try to put a little bit of a bevel on the edge. I'm going to just spin it up against my sander, right against the edge of the belt, like this. I could use a Dremel, but I have a belt sander, so we're going to try that. Okay, so that's what we came up with. See that little silver line there? That is the end, the new edge. Okay. So that's the new edge. Now we will see if I've made it better or worse. Good thing I didn't do the wrong side. There's an inset hole for the screw to set down if you on the top. And if I did it on the wrong side, I don't know what I would have done. But I actually did notice that. So, you know, I'm not trying to bull. I did notice the little inset part. And also, the part that goes in has a flat side and then another, whoopsie, I'm trying to drop my screw, and then another flat side. And those two flat sides match up with these flat sides here. So it has to go in. I think it can be turned 180 and that won't matter, but it's got to be matched up with those two flat sides. So it fits into the little cutaway, little milled out area that it sits in on the top of the blade. Now we will see if it's worse or better for getting your thumb onto. I'm not going to go too tight with it because it wasn't too tight originally. Okay, I think it's better. And I slipped a little bit. I still think it's a little better. Yeah, the reverse link is still there perfectly. Okay, I think it's a little better. I like it. I think I could have gone with a little bit better, a different angle. Like I think I went with about a 45. I think I would have gone with an angle about like that and cut a little bit deeper, but at a less angle, and it would have been a sharper edge, I think. But it's not bad. Yeah, I think it's a little better, and that's all I wanted, just a little bit. Just a little bit better. I could go further with it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go a little further with it. Look at that. We made the tip of the chuck just a little bit smaller around, so that hopefully I can get into that area a little better that I want to modify. There we go, nice and tight, and a little bit more room to grind on. So let's give it a shot. All right, so I feel like there's a little sharper edge on that edge there. Let's see, is it sharp on this side? No. Yeah, it's still not very sharp on that side. Seems like it ought to be. Yeah, we're going to try it. Unfortunately, now I've jammed that screw into there. I made it just the right size to fit down into the hole, but now the screw is jammed in there because it just did when I tapped it in there. What do you use to get something out? Like this, maybe? No, that's not a big enough hole because the screw head has to fit in it. Maybe this end? Okay, that end might work. There we go. Knocked it right out. There's a screw. Boom! Bob's your uncle. I don't know why the South Park uncle got into my head right there, but it sure did. And you know what? I'm going to start trying to not cuss so much. So we're going to bleep out that uncle bleeper reference. And then, you know, your kids can watch this video because I don't think there's any more cussing in it. I don't think there's any need to really cuss. So, oh, yeah, I think that's nicer. All right. Yeah. Okay. So you can see that It has a little bit sharper edge than it did before, and there's just a little more room to get your thumb in there than there was before because it's out of the way a little more. So, let's see. I'm not trying to open my knife, then I am. I slipped. Okay, let's try it again. I'm not trying to open it. Still slipped. It's marginally better. Not a lot. Reverse flick, still perfect. Maybe better. Well, I could go a little more. What if we went a little more? I'm going to go a little more. Because I feel like it's there. I forgot I had paused the video, so I already went and put it back on. And it is definitely a little better. Let's see. Yeah, I barely have to press down. As soon as I press down all, and I'm slipping here, but I'm trying to put the least amount of pressure I can. But if I press down at all, it catches pretty well. You know, that didn't really show that. It looked like it hasn't gotten any better at all. But it has. It's a little better with this cutaway now. And the cutaway is almost pretty much even with the height of... Wait, what? The height of the blade. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of a nice thing, I think. There's little spaces between each side now because of that cutaway amount of metal there. I didn't even check to see if this is steel. I think it's steel. Doesn't really matter. But whatever it is, now it's a little easier to open. And the reverse flick is actually a little nicer. So that's kind of good. Let's finish up the review on this guy. Great air goes. This little disc is great for the thumb for doing cuts. The blade itself, not a super tall grind, so it's not the sliciest thing, but it's not bad for sure. I love the kind of Bowie mixed with, did I already say that? Yeah, it doesn't matter. I love the Bowie mixed with the Harpoon angle that it has. Oh, I think, yeah, I was going to show that it's kind of similar to the Kansept Pelican in some ways, right? Kind of a little similar. Both have this kind of pocket clip with 2 screws that goes up. Yeah, I don't think JB Stout copied the Pelican by any means. They definitely have a lot of differences too. The Pelican was definitely first, and it's a front flipper. Although it's not a great front flipper, I had to mod it to get it to be better at front flipping. It kind of sucked at first. So kind of similar in shape and size, but a little different in the ways that matter. So now this is not my only stout knife. I do have this guy, the JB Stout Commander, made by Bowie. Now this is a less expensive one. I think it was $100 bucks, something like that. My wife got this for me not long after I kind of started getting into these more modern pocket knives and collecting. So I really love it. Would never get rid of it for that reason only, or for not just for that reason, but I wouldn't get rid of it even if I didn't like it. But I do like it. I think it's really nice. I like it so much that blade shape, I bought, let me find it. I bought an SRM that had sort of a similar blade, but it was more bulged out around the top, and I cut it down flat so that it kind of mimics that blade shape because I really like it. So the SRM is really nice, the Rubik sweet knife. This is the large one. They have a smaller one too, which is probably good. I haven't had it, but it's like a 3-inch blade or something, I think. So what's our overall thoughts on this? JB Stout Kansept Orion. I don't mind the disc. I think it's okay. I'd like a thumb stud better, probably. Love the blade shape. It's a little thick behind the edge. Handle feels great. Could be a little lighter. And Kansept, man, stop it with the non-captured pivots. This one, I keep having to adjust it because it comes out of adjustment, and I need to either glue it or Loctite it. But I know as soon as I do that, then if I need to adjust it, I have to use a tool on each side because it's a non-captured pivot, so I got to hold on to it like that. Right now, it is not loose. So, anyway, but probably if I messed with another 20 or 30 openings, it would be loose again, which, you know, that kind of sucks. Not a huge deal, though. Easy to fix, but a lot easier to fix with a captured pivot. Kansept captured pivot. Do it. Stop not doing it, okay? Come on, guys. Get into it at modern times. Everybody has a captured pivot, pretty much. Kaisers do. Two Sons do. Civivi always does. If you want, I will tell you the best kind of captured pivot to use, okay? Get in touch with me, and we'll work through it with you, and we'll do the best kind that works for your knives, you know? But for now, this is the JB Stout Orion, made by Kansept. And look at that Damascus one more time. And have a nice day.